morning. This is Coach's Corner with men's basketball coach Matthew Driscoll, and this is brought to you by Ashley's Furniture, requested by Coach.
I figured we'd have a nice, we're winding down the season and we need a little bit more comfortability as we go. We've been a long season and we're both a little bit fatigued in our bodies, so it's nice to be in a nice lazy boy chair.
3 more games left. Are you guys excited? Ready for the conference?
Well, 3 more games left guaranteed. Could be a possibility of lots more depending on how we do in the tournament. Obviously 2 at home, and then we start the tournament next week on Wednesday night. Depending on what happens, it's probably going to be pretty solid. We're pretty much competing in the 7th or 8th spot. We could get the 6th if a whole bunch of things happen, which usually don't. But you never know. But it looks like we'll be playing on Wednesday at either 2:30 in the afternoon or 9 o'clock at night. But East Tennessee State will be first on Thursday night, which is a great opportunity for us because we haven't played them jokers since back in November. And then Campbell, of course, following up their travel partner. Thanksgiving is when we played those guys, so it was 3 months ago. So we're actually going to get a pretty good snapshot of how much we have or have not improved because it's been 3 months.
You had a game against Kennesaw and Mercer this weekend. Mercer, you lost 77 to 67. What were some things that the team did that led to the loss?
At Mercer, the one thing you have to do is their best player, one of the best players in the league, didn't play because he had rolled his ankle against East Tennessee State. And sometimes, unfortunately or fortunately, you have a mental breakdown when that happens. You almost say, well, geez, that guy's not playing. He had 26 on us here. Geez, we only lost by 4, 26. We're going to win this game. You know what I mean? Sometimes that's how kids think, unfortunately. But we tried to share with them before the game, look, Stan didn't play. We beat Lipscomb. Matt didn't play. We beat Florida Gulf Coast at home. So let's not just assume because the guy's not playing. So that's kind of how we had to approach that situation. We played okay, not great. We didn't do some things well that we normally did. And, again, it went back to defense. And it always does. And, with these guys here, it's almost like it's one day one way, and then you have to bring back their attention. And you try to do it as much as you can as a coach, but sometimes you fall on deaf ears, so to speak. So Saturday's biggest thing we did with Kennesaw is we approached the game from Proverbs, and it talks about basically what it says is, are you hearing or are you listening? So everybody can hear, but you really want to be listening. And we talked about our defensive dominance and how we have to be that way. And in the second half, obviously, we held them 36% and 42 for the game. And free throws, we go 11 for 13 in the second half. And it really isn't no secret. And we talk about with our guys, if you talk to our guys, it's not rocket science. The best team that rebounds defensively and the best team that does well free throw shooting is going to usually 99% of the time win the game. And it came to fruition again against Kennesaw State. And down the stretch, they tried to come back and they tried to shorten the lead. We were up 10 most of the last 4 minutes. But we made our free throws down the stretch. And even if they were making a 3, they still couldn't catch us because we were exchanging 3 for 2, but it wasn't enough. And they only made but 1 3 down the stretch. So very proud of what our guys did. Andy Diaz, obviously, with a double-double, really had an explosive second half. But I really think Andy, Matt, and David June had another double-digit game and rebounded the ball well. I thought those 3 guys really played well as a collective group. And then Brad with 11 assists, 1 shy of the school record. And what's crazy is he actually threw some pretty good passes that could have led to him getting the 12th or the 13th, and we just didn't convert them. We scored, but we didn't convert from his initial pass. So, again, it was a great team effort, and that's when we're at our best. When nobody really is singles out on as far as what we're concerned, as far as one guy doing what they do. It's usually a collective group, and we're real proud of that.
Kennesaw State, you won 66 to 60, and a lot of it in the last half of the game was free throws, and they did extremely well hitting every free throw. How did you feel about their performance at the end of the second half?
We actually changed our philosophy with free throw shooting. The only guy we mess around with every day is Andy because he struggled so badly. And then against Kennesaw, he goes 5 for 6. And then the game before, he had made his last 2 down the stretch. And free throw shooting is mental. There's some mechanicals, but if you got good mechanics, it's mental. So we've actually taken the opposite approach and just said, heck with it. We're not going to over-coach it or over-approach it and just say it is what it is. Just go up and make your free throws. And that's what we said. We came out into a timeout and said, let's just go make your free throws. One thing about Kennesaw State, and I know it was on Ace on TV, and for the people that saw it or people that follow basketball and understand, one of our former players from Clemson was there, who we coached a long time ago and spent 10 years overseas making a lot of money. And the one comment he made to me after the game was, we won the special situation part of the game. And he understands that because he's a former player. But we really did a lot of good things late clock, underneath out of bounds, side out of bounds, end of the half. We did a lot of good things in what they call special situation part of the game. It's almost like special teams in football. And we really did a good job, and I really didn't think about that much during the game, but he's right looking back on it. And we practice that a lot. And that was one of his comments. He said, you guys must practice this a lot. And we do, because it's a part of the game where people don't understand. Late clock is a special situation. It's almost like third down conversion, so to speak. And I really thought our guys did a great job understanding what we wanted to do. So really, to their glory, tip the cap to those guys for doing a good job.
Well, congratulations against Kennesaw. Like you said, this week we have East Tennessee and Campbell coming into home court. Are you guys excited, ready for the games?
Yeah, again, we're 5-5 on the road, which if you go back to our original conversations, if you go back to our tapes and you look at them, we talked about stealing some on the road. Well, there aren't too many teams that have stole 5 games on the road, so to speak, especially teams like us that are up and coming that are supposedly, I guarantee you everybody in our league, when they saw us they said, okay, win at North Florida, and we're going to beat North Florida at home for sure. And then we go to North Florida, there's a pretty good chance we're going to win. You circle your calendar. That's how coaches do it, and I did it too. But the one thing about that is at home we're 3-5. And I've told you before, and I got no problem publicly saying, I'm disappointed that we're 3-5. And the majority of that rests on me. Whatever I've done or not done to make sure that we've approached the home court. And we haven't played, even though JU was such a high game with a record crowd and all that kind of stuff, we still didn't play with that intensity that we played with against Belmont when we beat Belmont here. And for some reason, I don't know why, but we've got to go back to that. We've got to go back and figure out what we did or what they did to be prepared like they did versus Belmont and get that great win, a traditional powerhouse, and a powerful win for our program. And we got to go back to that and take care of home court. If we do, you finish 10-10 in the league, got a possibility of moving up. You're 500 on the year. It's the most wins in the school's history. So there's a lot of things that this group still has to accomplish and still has the opportunity to do it. But, again, it's one game at a time. Here's what we told our guys. Going into Kennesaw, we said, look, we can still go 10-10. We can still win and do all these things. However, you can't win 10 unless you win 9. You can't win 9 unless you win 8. So if we don't beat Kennesaw, it don't matter. It's a moot point. So when we won the Mississippi tournament, it was the same thing. We can't play in the championship unless we win the first game. And so our guys have done a good job kind of approaching it that way. So that's kind of the way we've been going at it. So we'll see how it works Thursday night.
Well, I know there will be a huge crowd out there in the next 2 games. So
homecoming weekend.
Oh, that's correct. Homecoming weekend. Well, thank you, Coach Driscoll. I really appreciate your time and talking with us.
We appreciate it. I wish it was a longer setting because this chair is pretty comfortable.
Yeah,
here.
it
We
is.
can go a little bit longer. We appreciate Ashley Furniture for allowing us to do this.